is about how you can market. I mean, I want you to sell your book because I'm definitely going to get it myself and I'm going to promote it. But some people they don't like buying ebooks. I don't know why. I like ebooks. But what can somebody do? They have a podcast. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple, and it's crickets, and they're getting no downloads, no listens. How can they promote it?
Your fans, the people that know, like, and trust you already, that you already have, they could be your family, they can be your friends, they can be whomever. Those people already want to help you. They want to help you share your message. They want you to have you do stuff. But here's the big deal: you have to tell them the best way to help promote you. If you've got, it doesn't matter if it's a podcast, it doesn't matter what the business is. If you don't tell your audience or your fans what you would like from them, not only won't they do it because they don't know what you want them to do, but they can't do it. I talked to a guy who runs a nonprofit, and he said he got up in front of a group of people and he started going off on them and telling them that you don't support me, you don't love me, you don't do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, are you serious right now? Is that what you're telling me? That's that what you told them? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, brother, have you told them you would like them to share your social media posts? And he said, what do you mean? I said, have you told them what you expect of them? Hey, I got my fans out there. If you love what I'm doing, if you love my content, please share these posts on social media. Go a long way and help spreading our message. He's like, I haven't told them. Well, if you look at Jim Mattis and his 3-step communication process, what do I know? Who needs to know? And have I told them? Now, if you know that you want your people to share on social media, you know who you want to tell that to, but you haven't told them, well, you haven't completed the communication process. If you have something like I do for nonprofits, I go in to nonprofit groups and I spend a lot of time answering questions. People go in there, they'll post something, they'll say, man, I don't know how to do this. I will answer their question and they will say thank you. And then I'll add them to my social media. And some say yes and some say no. And someone says, why would you add me? I was like, oh, actually, I talk about this stuff all the time. I'm a nonprofit consultant. And if you're having these questions, I want to make sure that I can help you answer them. And a lot of that's going to be posted in, my daily or weekly posts about whatever. And they're like, oh, that's so cool. Well, now that I've provided that person value and I've answered a question for them, they're much more likely to show up in my network, whether they're on my social media page like Facebook, or if they hop into my free group, like facebook.com/groups/nonprofit architect, and hop in there and they can interact directly. I am telling people on my page where I want them to go. And they click on my logo and they're like, oh, what's the nonprofit architect? They click on that photo. I've changed the description so it says, hey, struggling to build your nonprofit? Check out my podcast at this link. Tired of going it alone? ? Check out my group and interact with people with the same problems. You have to tell people what you want them to do. Everyone that I interview, I ask them, hey, who else do you know would be a good interview? Or who else needs to hear this message? Can you share it with them, or can you connect us? There's not much that's better than a warm introduction. I tell you what, you want to meet people? Hey, could you drop them a line? I'd love to get to know them and see if they're a good fit for my show. And most of the time, it's absolutely. If you have treated them with dignity and you've provided them value and you've allowed them to share on your platform, it's almost a no-brainer. It's almost a guaranteed yes, depending on what level it is. Now, if I've got 2 podcasts out and I happen to interview Joe Rogan's gardener, he's probably not going to introduce me to Joe Rogan. But, if it makes sense down the road, that might be an interview or an introduction that can happen.
Yeah, and I totally agree. Like I said, I'm about to release the episode with Brent Gleason, and as we were talking, I'm like, "You're friends with David, right? David Goggins." He's like, "Yeah, we were in the same class together." I'm like, "Can you introduce us?" He's like, "Sure. I'll try to get him on your show within the next couple of months." And then I'm like, "Wow, it's crazy how you can, just by being caring and loving to people, how people want to help you." So now I have a question, because a lot of people that I see in a lot of these podcast groups have a lot of the same problems, that the guests a lot of times want to get on the show, but they'll never want to promote the show. How do you get the guests to actually promote, like Steve Sims? He's on like 10 or 15 different podcasts a week, so he really doesn't really post a lot of the shows that he's on. So how do you get some people to promote your show without being that guy that's spammy and trying to just being an
Well,
asshole.
I mean, that's just part of the process, right? So, like when I do an interview with the show, they normally ask, say, "Hey, let me know when this comes out so I can promote your stuff." As you know, being a good guest, that's what what you're gonna do. From the host side of it, I make sure that when I put a show out, I tell them when it's coming out. I get promo material put together. I've got the links of where to find the promo material on Facebook and LinkedIn, and then I also include all of the links where the show is going to be posted. I include, where you can rate and review my show. I put my Reddit link on there, my Pinterest link on there, my Twitter link on there, all of these links, and everywhere they can find the show. I put that in the email, and then I take it one step further. I give them an email template filled out that they can paste into MailChimp. So if they have an automated an email thing like Constant Contact, MailChimp, Aweber, whatever they use, or they just post individual emails, I've done all the work for them. I've made it easy for them to promote. And here's the deal: not everyone's going to promote your show, right? Steve Sims may or may not promote your show. If they've got a production team that's promoting all of the PR for their client, that's going to include every time they get featured in a magazine, every podcast they put out, every time they're a guest on a podcast, that's commonplace. Some people don't have those teams, or they don't have time, or don't need to be, need reminders, and they need reminders. They're like, hey, hey, would you go a long way to help me promote what you're doing? Is if you share this to your audience, they need to hear your message too. Plus, it's kind of a feather in your cap to say that you're a guest on yet another show. A little bit of encouragement, a little bit of taking the hard work out of it for them, and a little bit of reminding them that it's a good idea to share for them. What's the benefit for them? Everyone wants to know what's in it for them.
Yeah, I totally get that. So now, how do we go about? How can we find you? How can we find your ebook that has the ultimate guide to podcasting?
Great question. You can find me at any social media, Nonprofit Architect. Look it up. You'll find my smiling face. You can go to nonprofitarchitect.org. I am having my team build up the one-click link to get the podcast guide. It's not yet quite ready, but if you shoot me an email, nonprofitarchitect@gmail.com, I'll send you a PayPal request for $27. When I get paid, I will shoot over both versions of the ultimate podcasting guide so you can get on your way to having a great show. If you're already podcasting, I'm getting replies from people that have had shows, have been in the industry for 10 years, saying that even though they've been doing this for a while and have known 90% of my guide, they found that email templates invaluable. They found a couple things that they weren't doing because they've been doing it a certain way for so long, and they didn't know about the new way. So even if you have an established show, check out the guide, learn something, and then apply it. And if it sucks, man, tell me that it sucks. Let me know. I can tweak the guide and help everyone get a better guide. And I can also refund your money so you don't feel like you get taken advantage of. I wrote this because I was upset, and I don't want to leave that bad taste in your mouth. So drop me a line, nonprofitarchitect@gmail.com.
Well, I want to thank you so much, brother. I want to thank you for your friendship all these years. I love being a part of your group. I'm honored to be a part of it and be one of the first ones that ever joined your group. And I just want to say thank you for being a brother, for being a brother in Christ. And I truly appreciate you.
Hey, thanks so much, brother, for having me on the show, being a fan all these years, and I'm happy to connect. I know we're doing that mental health summit coming up. I'm looking forward to it.
All right, brother. Well, thank you so much. God bless you and have a great
You as
week.
well.